Well, thanks for being with us on this little video. Today I want to just highlight some of the basic features that are built into SMARTGov on the administrative side. There's so many things that SMARTGov can do in various departments that SMARTGov can serve, but really what's super important that you understand is that you have the ability to administer all aspects of each department that you're using SMARTGov for. And so as I log into SMARTGov, I'm already logged in. You can see I've got my dashboard up here with some charts and some graphs, and I've got a list in front of me. SMARTGov, please keep in mind, can be useful in your building department, your planning department, your engineering, public works, licensing, even your fire marshal for recurring inspections and rental inspections, all of those types of things. But so with that in mind, I want to move over here to this administrative area, and when I click on this simple menu here, it opens up all of the options that I have available to me. Now, each jurisdiction gets to define who within your organization is an administrator. It's up to you. We don't care how many administrators you have. Probably recommend more than one in case someone's out sick and you do need to come in and do some administration. But with that in mind, when I open this up, you can see various options that I have here. And so today I just want to give you a real quick high-level understanding of what some of these features and capabilities are. So now let's take a look at some of these administration features. We'll start with the audit trail, and what this means when I open this up is you're going to see a list of changes that have taken place within the database of SMARTGov. You'll notice that we have the logged in user that made each of these changes. In this case, these are all changes that I've made. You'll see the date and the time that each of these changes were made, as well as the old value and then the new value. In this case, these are all numeric. If I page forward to some other changes, you can see that they're not just numeric changes. It could be, for example, on this particular date, this logged in user, which is using an email for the login name, made an update to the database where this old value was initial and that was changed to canceled. Again, all values that have ever occurred in any data field are tracked in the audit log and you have access to them. Currently, I filtered this by the last 7 days, but there's many ways that you can access this information. And this is so important in today's day and age where you're tracking information that ultimately sometimes shows up at a hearings board and even for code enforcement actions that sometimes are reviewed by authorities, and you need to be able to demonstrate how your data's changed, who made the change, as well as all previous values and dates and times. Super important. A number of features that are also available, I'll just go through a couple more, is the ability to manage your user security access. I can also, with this function, set up my departments, but briefly, let's just take a look at some security groups. Security groups means if I have a person that's a cashier, what does a cashier function have access to? When I open this, you can see these are various capabilities that a cashier has the ability to perform within SMARTGov. Notice this means that a cashier has read capability of contacts. They have update capability of contacts. They have the create capability of contacts, but they do not have delete capability. I could, just I've done below, checked full, which means they have full access to this particular line item of capabilities. There are various ways that I can limit this or even add new capabilities if I'd like, and then assign this particular role to an individual user, and even assign multiple roles, security roles, to individual users so that you can truly customize how people access the system, what they're able to do, as well as what they're not able to do. You have access to each of these components. There's also a finance area where you can define fees and attach those fees to your general ledger accounts and reference them to FMS codes if you'd like. We'll now move down to the permitting area, where I'll give you an example that applies to most of the modules within SMARTGov on how you configure various permits. If I come under permit type, this is going to show you the existing permits that I have configured. I could easily create a new one, or I could find an existing permit and make a modification to it. Let's do that. I'm going to search by the name of the permit that I'm looking for. In this case, I'm looking for a single-family residential. I'm going to add this to my search capability, and now I've filtered by only my single-family residential. Let's open up new construction. At this point, I've now fully accessed the template of a single-family residential permit. This is where you can define the requirements that goes into a single-family residential permit, as well as how you name this permit. We're calling it an SFR new. You could call it typed out in longhand, single family residential if you'd like. However you'd like to note that, you can. I can attach this permit to a specific department. In this case, I've chosen my building department. I can also create a numbering pattern that is specific for all SFR new permits. And you can see when I open up my token wizard, various tokens that I can use, which corresponds to dates, sequences, or simply some letters that reference the type of permit. So what I'm using is SFR, single family residential, with a 4-digit year followed by a 3-digit sequence. In 2015, the year is automatically going to adjust, and then I'll start over with the new sequence process. I also have various expiration rules that I can attach to each state of the existence of this permit. And they can last for 180 days is what I'm using, but you can configure these as you choose. Even submittal documents. There's various submittal documents that I'm going to require for a certain type of permit. A re-roof permit's very different than a brand new construction, which is different than a simple water heater replacement. And your list of required documents will be unique to each one of those types. This is where you define those requirements. And even from here, I can define whether or not these documents can be uploaded from the public portal, which is an option as well. If I'd like to add another type of document that's required, I simply go to my list of documents and pull that in from here very easily. Or I could also delete something just like this. Now I'll look briefly at the fees. This is the area where I can attach fees to my permit, and I can again delete a fee or add a brand new fee to the record so that all permits of this type are going to contain the right fees. This is also where I would identify the appropriate inspections. Again, these inspections are unique to each type of permit, and this is where you attach the appropriate inspections based on what the permit is performing. Workflow is a place where I can assign various steps and tasks to people within my organization. This is where I would attach my plan review step and my engineering people, and I can make assignments to various people right over here and send them automatic notifications when these things are due, and I can define that along with duration time periods if I'd like. A few other things that I'll mention and then we'll move forward is tabs. Tabs is the idea that various things that might not apply to the way I do business. Maybe I don't use fixtures at all to generate my fees, and if that's the case, if I don't use them, then I'm going to turn this fixture tab off. Or I can turn off the submittal tab if that's something that I don't use. Or this cycling component that's unique to our SMARTGov system. If that's something that I'm not choosing to use, I can easily just turn that off right here. The other thing that I can do is choose which of these tabs I'm going to present on the public portal, and here's where I do that. You can see I've got a private access versus the public access as well as the public notice access. All of these are components of our public portal, and you have the ability to define those. From here, let's just look at a couple more things. The public portal, as we've mentioned, you configure that on your own as well. You have full access to this. And here's where I would come in on the public portal side and decide whether or not I'm using the code enforcement module on the public portal. Here's where I can set custom footer links, phone numbers, banner images, and so on. You have the ability to create those. And in a similar fashion, your report setup works the same way, where you can come in and define various letters that apply to certain permits, various header elements that apply to certain reports, and create those exactly as you need. When you have a finished product on the public portal, you can see that I've turned on my permitting area, my public notice, and my contact us area, and here's my message to the general public, all configurable, which you choose and select in the administrative area. It's just a real quick, get your feet wet presentation on what's there. But I hope you understand that the whole idea of SMARTGov is to give you the ability to do what you need to do and not always have to call our help desk. But certainly, when you get stuck, that's your backup. We're open from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time and available to support you through the help desk with unlimited support to you.